School board member and superintendent comments. Start down there with Ms. Scruggs-Duncan.
First, Ms. Morgan and I are going to propose that we move this segment to the end of the agenda from now on, because it sort of will be a better culmination of the evening. But I did want to say that if there's anyone out there that has an interest in working with young people, that is interested in working in our school systems, if you can encourage them to apply for these positions. A lot of the positions that are unfilled are because we don't have applicants, or we don't have certified applicants. So they're teaching CDL down there at the college. You can get your license to drive a school bus. We would love that. But any of these positions, if you've been sitting around thinking about it, now's the time. Put your application in.
Thank you. Ms. Morgan.
Yes, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. Always appreciate anybody who takes time to stand up and talk to the board, so thank you for our public comments. I would agree with Ms. Scruggs-Duncan. If you know anyone looking for work or wants to have a new job working with children, encourage them to apply. We have lots of positions open, and we're in desperate needs of substitutes. So please encourage anyone you know that's looking to reach out. And then finally, I want to say I hope everyone has a great holiday season and a very Merry Christmas. I know our students and staff alike are ready for a long winter break to rest and recharge, and I'm sure the classrooms are very adventurous this week with a lot of excited little children. So I wish you all the best. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Mr. Littleton.
I also want to thank everybody for coming here tonight. I want to thank Ms. Seville for speaking to us, and I also want to thank Ms. Jordan for speaking to us. We always do appreciate the comment, and we do. It does come into our thinking and our role play. Ms. Jordan, I hope, and I understand that it is very frustrating, and I'm sorry it's a thing we're seeing nationwide with everything, just not having enough people to do jobs. I'm 99.9% sure that the positions are there, they're just not filled. I will find out for sure tonight. And Ms. Bill, thanks for coming and talking about the schools. There's a lot of different angles there on all of that. Just with everyone for coming, and wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Eric.
Well, again, thanks to everybody for coming out. To Mrs. Jordan, appreciate your comments, and I think much of the two topics that you touched on are things that a lot of employees are talking about, especially in this stressful time. So I appreciate you coming out, but I also appreciate even more just the things that you and the other people, your colleagues, do day in and day out through all of our schools. We know that really, even pre-COVID, I guess you could say, but from the onset of the COVID pandemic on up to present day, education has been taxed. You all know that, and we know that too, and it's frustrating for us as board members because we know that, but without the people to show up to fill these positions, it's hard to get help where it's most needed. But we do appreciate you coming in and speaking to us about it. Ms. Phil, I feel like you and I disagree on at least one major topic, but I do appreciate you coming in as well. As Mr. Littleton alluded to, there's a lot that went into the agreement that was eventually what we all voted on. There's no way that I could even take an hour and a half or so and walk you through all of what I know about it, because even some of it predates me. But just know that there were a lot of people involved, and some of which, and I'm one of them, had children in the division. So as it relates to thinking about what's best for the kids, I mean, there's a couple different ways to answer that. I know for me throughout the process, what I kept in the forefront of my mind was not what's necessarily best tomorrow for my children, but I was also thinking about my children's children and the future of education in this area. So when you kind of back out your view of things, it's funny how sometimes your priorities shift. So I feel like I'm joined with that sentiment by a lot of people who supported what we eventually passed. I would also, before I conclude, just like to publicly express my condolences to the family of Jim Laughlin. It was a man who, former Covington City Superintendent in the late 70s, city manager of Clifton Forge, having only been on school board service for the last few years. I can only imagine what it's like to serve in the capacities that he did. And I did not get a chance to meet him, but certainly do respect the lengthy public service that Mr. Laughlin gave. So that's all I have.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
For once, I'm at a loss for words. I didn't know I was going to speak. But I would like to say I'm glad to be able to join remotely. I'd like to address Ms. Jordan, who is a personal friend as well as a colleague when I was a substitute. I understand your frustration as being in service 7.5 hours and then having to stay afterwards and not being afforded time and a half. Makes it a really, really long day. And I'm really concerned about special ed students who are not being accommodated because of shortages other places. And I assure you that the board's going to be looking into trying to secure more substitutes so that you can continue to give our special ed students the best attention that they deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Franson.
Thank y'all for coming in. I want to thank, the public comment. Sometimes it takes a lot of nerve sometimes to get up here and talk to us. Or anybody, we just like you guys, except we're up here, okay? So don't ever figure that you can't come and talk to us. But we're always listening. Now, just because we listen don't mean we can change things, but we will listen, okay? But we appreciate the comments. And a couple things about the bus drivers. I know we've had to cancel some bus routes, and you don't have to go to Dabney to get a bus training, I believe. We train them in-house?
We do also, you can do that also.
Right. So, if you want to be a bus driver, come on. And also as far as the special ed, some of those positions are really difficult to fill. I mean, the whole world wants special ed people. And so some of the localities can pay a little bit more than we can. But I think we've gotten contracts for people. We're trying to make sure that all our kids get taken care of, okay? The other thing is, when you ask other people about jobs, looking for a job, please, make sure that you're good with kids. Don't send us nobody down here who's going to give us a problem with the kids, okay? We want people who love the kids, who want to do this. Because you have to have a love for this job. Not our job, y'all's job, okay? Like Ms. Jordan said, you spend all that time and then you got to go do the janitorial and things. And you guys, the staff, administration, I tell you this every month, but I'm going to tell you again. You need to pat them on the back. So kudos to them because they're busting their tail. I mean, all the extra work, they got to do this year's stuff, they got to do consolidation stuff. You got a great bunch of staff, okay? And don't ever think because we can't do all the things that you want us to do that we don't care, because we care. It's just sometimes you can't pull a bus driver out of the hat or a special ed person, okay? So bear with us, we're trying our best, okay? Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. I would just like to reiterate what everyone else has said. Ms. Jordan, thank you for coming out to see us tonight. And thank you for all you do for our students, being a paraprofessional and also working in custodial staff. That is great. And obviously you're doing the work of two people. So we certainly appreciate that. That's actually one of the, later on in the agenda, there's a couple of different subcommittees that I want to look at creating for board members. And one of them is a salaries, recruitment, and retention. There are definitely some salaries we need to look at changing. There's definitely some things we need to some changes we just need to make to hopefully recruit more people and retain the people that we have. So that's something we definitely want to look at, and this is something that this board is very invested in. So we definitely will be looking into that. I would just like to thank all of you all for coming out. We have a great crowd here tonight. Also like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
We're going to sound like we're reiterating several things also, but it is lovely to see people here tonight. It's wonderful to have people speaking in public comment. You know, it's very nice to hear a diversity of thought processes, and that's very good information for everyone to have. We've been saying this for probably since the month began, but it has been a real joy to be in our schools lately because it's Christmas again. And we haven't seen Christmas quite like this since pre-pandemic. And it's a really special effort and a really special time with our students, and we thank our entire staff for working to make this time of the year so special. It really is something that can require a lot of effort on their part, as well as on the part of families and on the part of students themselves, but it is also very, very enjoyable. So we're really glad that that is back. We echo the sentiment on if you know someone who is interested in working even a day or two a week, potentially as a substitute, this is a really wise thing that several board members have brought up. There's more flexibility in that than there used to be. So even someone who might be what we call VRS retired might be eligible for that. So they just need to call if that's something that someone wants to consider. We join in the condolences for the Laughlin family. That's a tremendous amount of service, both to local government and to schools. We really, really appreciate that level of service. And of course, also wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Want a car loan with a little get up and go? Our credit union offers quick loan approvals and great rates. Our loans get you on the road fast because we belong to you. Jackson River Community Credit Union. We belong to you. Online at jacksonrivcomcu.org. We're federally insured by NCUA. We're an equal housing lender.